Hi, Leonie. It's nice to see you
Hi,
again
Jackie.
today.
Yes, awesome. How was your week?
Yeah, not been too bad. And I've had a walk every day.
I'm so proud of you because I didn't.
But you're going to
For-
have an awesome weekend.
yes, for those of you that don't know me and Jackie, we decided that every day we're going to do something for ourselves. So we discussed about walking. Jackie will go walk in the forest, and I was supposed to go down to the beach and just go see whether it is still there. But we also talked about reading. So at least I did the reading this week, but I didn't even put my nose out the door to go look at
Yeah. So,
the
Leonie,
beach.
tell us about the reading then. What have you been reading?
Yeah, I have finally finished my book, Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor
Oh,
Frankl. Yes, and I say I finally finished it because my husband asked me the other night, he says, have you ever reread a book? And I said, no, I don't usually. When it's done, it's done.
yeah.
But this thing, I think it can now qualify or classify that I've reread this book because I would read a page, walk away from it and go back and read that page again and read that page again. So I think I've reread this book about 3 times in one go
In one
because
go.
it's so powerful. It was so intense that I had to go back every time and say, no, let me just go see this again. What did he say? So yes, I finished my book.
So, were you saying it being powerful? What do you feel you could learn a lesson from that from life for life?
Ooh, a heck of a lot. We always think that we are suffering.
Mm.
And I'm not saying this to let anybody think we make light of what they go through, but we think we suffer. Now, that book, Man's Search for Meaning, was written by Viktor Frankl, a psychologist who was in a number of concentration camps during
Yeah.
the World War. And he talks about the things that they've gone through, the suffering that they've gone through. And, when you see what those people have gone through in those concentration camps, it makes my life look like a walk in the park.
Yeah. Yeah.
And and people that I spoke to this week as well, I had some serious coaching sessions this week, and when I hear what they're going through, to them it is like it's the end of the road. And I used this book to talk to them about the suffering, just so that they can see, but hold on, yes, I am suffering, yes, I am going through this tough time, but it is not that bad because I still have a hope
Yeah,
to
because
get this resolved.
that's a hard one, isn't it? When you lose your hope.
It is insane. Viktor Frankl writes about it. He says that the minute somebody loses hope for their future, he says it's a deadly effect because you actually die.
Yeah.
Yeah. He said that during was it Christmas 1944 and New Year's Day 1945, he says the death rate was at the peak at that stage, not because they had strenuous labor additional on top of what they're already going through, not that their food was taken away from them in that period. It's just purely that the guys, they all just lost hope because in their mind they were holding on to this, what, we're going to be out here by Christmas, and that's what they held on to.
Yeah.
Is that they're going to be out of this place by Christmas. And then Christmas Day came and they were still there. He said, and you could see in that 7-day period how people just deteriorated because they gave up hope. The next morning they won't even get up. No matter how much you prod them, how much you nag them, get up, how much you try and get them, because if they don't get up, the soldiers will come and they will have to get whipped and kicked and stuff like that. And not even that could motivate them to get up because they've lost hope completely. He says, so the death rate between Christmas and New Year was the highest because people they gave up. They gave up. And that to me was the big thing that came through from this book. Is the minute we give up, the minute we've got nothing to look forward to, it's over.
Yeah. And I think that's so true, isn't it? You've got to have a reason to get up every day, haven't you? That hope to keep moving forward. So what would you suggest to somebody then that was at that point?
Well, what I've done this week now, so I'm going to just give you some of the examples that we had this week, is I would say to them, you have to have some goals. No matter how small, you have to have a goal. The one lady that I dealt with this week she's really in a bad state. And I said to her, there has to be something. Come talk to me. So I get the information out of her. I said to her, tell me, what is there that you used to enjoy doing? And she says she does have a project. She would like to knit again. So I said to her, awesome, awesome. Just to get that part of your brain thinking and going again. I said to her, then grab it, because she said to me she's in no way, shape or form focused enough so that she can read. I said, no problem. Then don't read. Because you have to sit down, you've got to read, you've got to understand what you've read, you've got to take it in. And if your brain is too smattered with some other issues, some people just cannot focus. I said, then don't read. And she said to me, she really likes this knitting thing, and she's got a project that she started. I said to her, okay, now for the next, how many every day until our next session, I want you to knit at least for an hour a day. Just for an hour.
Yeah.
That's all you do. You pick up your knitting and you knit. I said, set the timer on your phone. Set the timer for an hour and just pick up your knitting. I said, whether you do one row or one round, whatever it is that she's working on, it's fine. But that's for that hour, you sit with that knitting and you're like, I'm going to do this. I said, if you make a mistake in the knitting, it's fine. It's fine. I said, that is your healing project. I said, you're going to keep that thing. And you're going to keep looking back at that one day and say, that's where I was.
Yeah.
And, move forward. So with anybody, when they sit in a difficult situation and they feel they are at rock bottom, think of something that you used to enjoy doing. And then just tackle that one thing.
Yeah.
And work on that one thing. Last week when you and me spoke, we said we need some me time, because we show up for everybody else, but we don't show up for ourselves, which is why we then said, we're going to do this walking thing. And I said, plus the walking, I'm also going to do the reading. I never got to the walking bit, but I did my reading bit this week.
Yeah.
So not quite where I was aiming to go, but I had something that I put in place because I've really had a very busy week. But I forced myself to have my hour of reading every day.
And it's interesting because that reminds me of, although I know you had a project that you did it with, but you said about crocheting, how sometimes you like to do that, except for when you've got a set desire what they've got to have. But when you're doing it for yourself, it's something you can do as relaxing. Now, for me, things like arty things, I used to love to see painting, or I used to go pottery and things like that. And you can just switch off from everything and just absorb. And that really helps our mental health, if you like, because we're concentrating on something totally different and you can get lost in it.
Yes, completely. I mean, when I sit and I crochet, I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, you're counting, you're thinking of other stuff. But sometimes while I'm sitting like that crocheting, I'm like, hold on. I've just realized something, because my brain still thinks about how to do my email automation thing, or it still thinks about, I've got to go put stuff on the website. So the brain still goes there. But while I am not so zoomed in or, focused on the website, and I'm just sitting there knitting or crocheting, I'm like, hey, that block just fell into place. It just made sense for me now. Now I know what they meant when they said A, B, or C. And then sometimes I just grab myself and I leave a quick voice note for myself, because I try to then, stay with my crocheting or my knitting, whatever it is that I'm doing. But sometimes I get so excited, you just see wool and cotton flying. I'm like, I'll be back now. I'm just going to go get my laptop quickly. And I run off and I do it. But that's why it's so important that we have hobbies, that we and before somebody thinks I'm telling them now to go out and go spend some money and find a hobby. Reading can be a hobby. And there's so many free downloads. There's sites where you can get free downloads, where you can get books to download for free that you can read. So if you're into reading and you don't quite have the budget right now to just go out and go buy a whole bunch of books, go see if there's free downloads, or just find, even if it's just like we said last week, go take a walk. But find something that that you can just sit down and just, hold on, let me just focus here.
Even if it's like doodling and things like that, isn't it? We often think about, you get doodle books these days, don't adults, some people love to do those sort of things. Or as kids, we used to make our own, didn't we? Do you ever remember drawing circles and making your own ones? Well, so there's always ways round, and free printable stuff that you can find online.
That's correct.
Print off, or just doodle and things like that, just to help the mind flow.
Even with the coloring. I mean, there's some excellent adult coloring. Okay, that sounds weird when I say adult coloring books. But I mean, with, it's not the little cute little bear and stuff like that. It's nice. It's like those, what's those other
I've got a
designs?
few. Like you get
Yes,
mandalas as well, don't
that's
you?
it. Mandala. That's the word I'm looking for. Yes.
Mm.
And I've had some of those where I actually sit, because I've got a very expensive set of coloring pencils that I've had for like 30 years. It's very precious. It's locked away. Nobody's allowed to touch it. But when I'm in the mood to color, that box comes out. And it's amazing how relaxing it is when you just do that. And I mean, now when you look, I don't have my Bible is next to my bed now. I'm just trying to see where it is. But even in the Bibles that you get now, they've got specifically next to, on the side of the pages, all these pages where you can actually journal and color in your Bible. And it is so, that is so relaxing sometimes. So when I'm not really in the mood to concentrate on a pattern, to crochet or knit or something, I go take that out.
Yeah.
And then I color. But it's just that it's almost like, it reminds me of, when you go 10-pin bowling, where they all stand, what do you call those?
Skittles.
Skittles, that's it. Where they all stand in a row and you come and the ball goes in and you just see Skittles flying. So when my brain is all over the place, the Skittles are all fallen over and some of them are standing upright, I get to sit down and I focus either on reading or I'll color. And then my Skittles, they all just go back into place again.
Yeah.
And it's very important that we do that. I cannot stress the fact enough, especially after all my sessions I had this week. I am looking forward to tonight, where we're meeting up with family.
Yeah.
And I know that because it's going to be it's going to be loads of laughter. So I can't wait to get there so we can have all this laughter, all this ridiculousness, laughing about everything that you can think of. And on Monday, I'm going to be totally refreshed again.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm going to be ready to take on the next batch. So it's extremely important that we do things that we enjoy.
Yeah.
Every now and again.
Definitely.
Yeah, most definitely.
And it can be, a paid hobby, or it can be like what I do is go for a walk in the woods. Or, because you're out with nature, that also has a really good calming effect on the body, doesn't it? And switching off. So it's just finding what works for you and what's affordable for you as well, isn't it?
Yes, exactly. And I mean, I've got no excuse. I live on the ocean, not on the ocean, but right next to it. It's like just here. Well, I have to get into my car and drive about a kilometer down to see it, but it's right here on my doorstep. So I've got no excuse. I can go down. But yes, it's been. I'm glad that I got to reading, and my checklist. It's on my checklist. Maybe that's why I got to it, because my checklist says every morning at point number 2, because this week I tried to stick to a specific flow or a specific order. And number 2 was read a book.
That's good.
Before I got to anything else, I had to first read a book.
Yeah.
And people say, yes, but that's a lot of time wasting. I use books when I'm coaching. So it's not just, man's search for meaning. I've got fiction, because a lot of the times we learn there's something in a book, in a fiction book or a fictional book, that you can use to tell a story. So that's why I read, and that's why reading is number 2 on my list today.
Yeah.
And number 1 on my list is my prayers.
Yeah.
Because that kind of helps me focus on my plans ahead, because my prayer list, I've got it all on my cell phone. So I know exactly what it is at this point in time that I am praying for. And that's why number 1 is my prayers, number 2 is read a book, and then I start with my day.
Yeah. Yeah, that's very similar to mine. Prayers, and I do a bit of Bible reading before I start my day, and go for my walk. Sometimes depends on which way around it is, but they're all like, they're my first things before I start work. It helps you to be in the right mindset, ready to start and focus.
Absolutely. And I know there's a lot of mindset coaches, and everybody, there's a lot of coaches around nowadays. I joked the other day, I said for every word that you can find in the dictionary, there's a coach for it now. But you know what, it's just simple things that we can do to get our mindset right. Because even in this book as well that I read now, he talks about your attitude towards life.
Yeah.
And because those of them that survived, it's because they changed their attitude
Yes.
towards what they're going through. And I mean, you think you're in a concentration camp, you are being starved to death. But they decided that they are going to make it.
Yeah. Mindset.
They
The
decided,
mindset.
mindset. They decided that this thing is not going to break me.
Yeah.
Yes, it got very close, but they decided that no. He says, and when the one person was down, the other person would, pick them up again.
Yeah.
And they were backing each other. And he said, they got so blunt in these concentration camps. He said he has now realized, he ended off this one chapter. I have to read it to you. When I read it, I'm like, whoa. Now remember, he's this world-renowned psychologist. He says, since Auschwitz, we know what man is capable of. And since Hiroshima, we know what is at stake. He says, because he realized while they were in Auschwitz, that a person that you look at that can be the most compassionate person ever, the minute they got into that circumstance, they changed.
Yeah.
That some of them became sadists.
Yeah.
They had these sadistical tendencies and stuff. He says there were some of the German soldiers that couldn't participate in what was going on. But you had your group of sadists that would go all out and hurt and kick and maim people. He says, but the majority of them were actually, we don't want to be here, type of thing. But they had to be there because that was the whole Hitler plan. But he said that how he noticed how people's personalities can change because of the circumstances that they're in.
Yeah.
And because they allowed the circumstance to change their personalities and their attitudes. He said, and those of them that survived, they refused for their circumstances to change their personalities. But they did get all, like I said, they were all like blunt. They all like, they would see birds and not click.
Yeah.
It was
like they're devoid of emotion in some respects.
Completely. Yeah. And he said a lot of the times he kept in his mind, he kept a photo of his wife. And that's what he kept on moving forward for every single day, was that possibility that he's going to see her. He said he knew that by then she might have already been dead, but in his mind, to keep him going, he would like have conversations with her.
Yeah.
And that kept him fairly sane to go through this insane experience of sitting in a concentration camp. And yeah, this book really touched me. Usually when I buy books, they're thick and they've got loads of pages in and they're like heavy when you read them. I mean, yes, the other one that I got yesterday, it's significant. It's a significant change, but this little book packs a punch. And I'm definitely, this one is staying in my library, and it's definitely, I'm going to read it again one day because of the amount of information that you can learn from this book. It's awesome.
Yeah, and the thing is, we all need to learn from those things, don't we? That so these things don't happen again.
Yeah. Yes, and and even if it's just for you to see, but hold on, my issue that I'm facing is not that bad. It's really not that bad. There is a logical plan for me to get out of this. They had no plan. They did not know. Their plan was just to stay alive every day. That was their biggest concern, is just to stay alive and to just stay focused on what it is that they were doing. And yeah, so no, this book touched me immensely. I think it took me about 2 months to get through this book because it was so, what did he just say? No, I have to go read that again. And I read it, I'm like, what? And I go read it again. And then I would run to find my husband and say, Graham, I have to tell you this. And then I read him, I'm like, listen to this. And I start reading the book, and you can see my husband goes, okay. Because he's not in that frame of mind to listen to what I'm saying. But I had to just share it. It's immense. I've got some other notes here if we've still got time.
Couple of minutes. I've got a call short.
Yes. Okay. I made few things. Where is it now? We need to change our attitude towards life. Stop asking about the meaning of life, but ask, what life wants from us.
That's interesting.
Yes. And life means taking responsibility to find the right answers to the problems of life. So we've got to go out and go find the answers.
Yeah.
They're there.
Yeah.
Yeah. When we lose faith in our future, we are doomed.
Yeah.
We allow ourselves to decline and we become subject to mental and physical decay.
So true, isn't it? And
Yes.
hope is the assured expectations, isn't it? And I think
Yes.
that's, yeah, you've got to have that hope all the time.
You've got to. You know, I always wondered that I see people and I wonder, why is it that they just gave up on life? Why? And since I've read this book, I realized it's only one thing, and it sounds like something so simple, but it's not. But it's just one thing: they've lost hope for their future.
Yeah.
And that's what it is.
Yeah.
And that's why they give up. You can take two people and put them through exactly the same experiences, the same trauma, the same everything. The one person will carry on and succeed, and the other one will fall down.
Yeah.
And it's all about they've given up on hope, and we need to change our attitudes towards the situation. The minute we do that, we can focus again and carry on.
Yeah.
So yes, I can talk about this book for hours, but I know we don't have hours.
We can do it another time. We can carry it on, can't we? That theme about keeping that attitude positive. I think that's key.
Yes. Attitude is my other favorite topic, is about, you know, our attitude towards things and towards life and so on and so on. But yes, I'm going to write the piece. It will be on my blog. I'll share the link in the group as well once I've done it. But I thought that, you know, if I can encourage anybody, is just go and find a hobby. Just find a hobby. Find something that you used to enjoy and go and do it. And have a hope for the future.
Yeah.
Never stop dreaming. Have a goal. Have a goal.
Brilliant advice, Leonie. And I think I shall look forward to reading the blog on it.
Yeah.
You've got so much more to say.
Oh, I've got lots to say. I better stop now because I know we're running out of time. But yes, I can carry on about this book. I've never had a book impact me so much as this book. Most definitely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Look forward to reading the blog. It's been lovely chatting with you.
Yes, awesome, Jackie. Thank you for this, and I will chat to you again soon.
Will do. Take care.
Yes. Bye, everybody.
Bye.